Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with another Total War Warhammer video. So today we're going to have a little bit of a discussion about this screenshot because there is a fair amount to discuss. This was released at the beginning of the Skulls event, but no creator had access to it, and I've only recently gotten the time to start talking about it myself. So what we can see here is, well, Kislev versus Khorne, and something that we've been seeing over and over since, well, like a few weeks now. So not only do we get to see Chaos unit cards for Khorne, but there are some rather interesting things here. So first let's talk about the elephant in the room, or well, the cow. We can see Minotaurs of Khorne, God-touched. I'm assuming this more or less confirms that we won't see any God-touched Beastmen for the Silence and the Fury, which, okay, works perfectly fine, but it's weird, isn't it? We were always expecting a mixed roster of mortal humans and demons, but now it seems that Beastmen are also coming into play here too. And we were always also expecting some God-touched Beastmen, more specifically Khorngors, Pestigors, Zangors, and Slangors, depending on how they get implemented in Warhammer 3. It could be that these are the representation of Khorngors, as right now we don't have a current mini for them in Age of Sigmar or in Warhammer Fantasy. They were just Bestigors with a red tint. So it's now expected that the other Chaos factions, Slaanesh, Nurgle and Tzeentch, will also have access to God-touched Beastmen. And okay, that's actually quite cool, but then how does it work for the standard Beastmen? Will they also get access to them too? Does this mean that the Beastmen will get a second update by the time that Warhammer 3 releases and a Beastmen faction is playable? I mean, it would be a massive shame if they were available in-game but not for the Beastmen faction too, wouldn't it? It's all very odd, isn't it? Especially since we're pretty much banking on the fact that there's going to be 5 Chaos factions when it comes to the release of Warhammer 3. One dedicated to each respective god, and of course Be'lakor leading Chaos Undivided. But then, what does that mean for the Beastmen and the Warriors of Chaos? What does that mean for Norsca? All of these are pretty much Chaos Undivided in a sense, aren't they? It just raises a lot of questions, and I hope that we won't have to wait too long for answers, because I'm extremely confused, and I'm pretty sure that I'm not the only one. Next we have a hero character, which we haven't seen before, and interestingly enough, he's got a very strange icon. So what I can see here is that he's got 2 little horns on his head. He's likely a Chaos hero which has undergone mutations. This is fairly common, especially when you are a Chaos worshipper. Sometimes you'll grow horns, scales, or anything which will fit around your god. And it's rather interesting because his icon is very different to what we've seen from most heroes. This was mentioned by myself during the Skull Throne livestream, and more or less what everyone came up with is that it's likely that this is a battle priest of sorts. Mainly because the character's icon is very much like a dwarf thane. It's something very, very different to what we'd normally see, and it's possible that this is probably the only way that Khorne will get some magic in one way, shape or form. Yes, it's not real magic, as you can see there is no actual winds of magic on the right hand side, but think about this in a very similar sense to the Dwarf Thane once again, or the Empire Battle Priest. They have runes or prayers, it doesn't require any winds of magic whatsoever, and this will probably be the only way that Khorne will have any sort of buffs. This is essentially a Slaughter Priest from Age of Sigmar, as such a unit did not exist way back in the day of Warhammer Fantasy, and if this is truly the case, well, that's all fine. I'm pretty sure that nobody within the community is going to be too pissed off with Creative Assembly taking some inspiration from some things from Age of Sigmar. At the end of the day, some factions will need some extra flavor. There's not really much else to discuss. I'm assuming that we'll eventually get a full roster reveal for Khorne, and I'm really curious now to find out exactly how large this roster is. We have to take into account that first we thought it was mortal and demon, but now Beastmen is coming into effect too, so can we expect each of the Chaos rosters to be incredibly large. We've already seen quite a lot of different variants when it came to the playthrough that creators such as myself took part in, and we were specifically told that that was not the full Khorne roster, despite the fact that a lot of units existed and they all had variants too. So I'm rather curious to see what happens. Hopefully we'll see a full roster reveal soon enough. But a question to you guys would be, what do you guys think about the God-touched Beastmen? And what do you think this means for Chaos as a whole, especially the Beastmen faction who are due to get a rework in July of this year? And do you think that this God-touched warrior also could be a battle priest, slaughter priest type of character? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's start a bit of a discussion.